Claire Scriven is South Australia's Primary Industries Minister. And Claire, well, we knew it was a big harvest for the grain sector, but it was an absolute monster, the data from PIRSA is telling us.
That's right. It's actually exceeded expectations. So we've got the highest on record in terms of crop production at 12.8 million tonnes, and that's a 51% increase over the previous year, which is quite amazing. The previous record was 11 million tonnes, and that was in 2016-17. So that's absolutely huge, and I think it's certainly a good news story for the state and particularly for our primary producers.
Certainly, with the projections of where the weather's going to go this year, I suspect it's the biggest one we might see for, certainly not this coming year, but one that we'll be talking about for many years to come.
Well, I think it will. Previously, people have talked about that 2016-17 year, and this has exceeded that. We are expecting, I guess, with the weather, that it's not likely to be repeated for too much longer in terms of this sort of bumper crop. But the fact that we do have this is really good news.
And what is it? I guess it's something as we frame a federal and a state budget coming up, the impact that 12 million tonnes or so has had on South Australia's roads. We're certainly seeing plenty of cracks and potholes because it was a wetter year as well. Is that something you're hearing across the Cabinet deliberations going into the budget?
Well, obviously we don't talk about what we discuss in Cabinet, but the regional roads are very difficult. Minister Brock and myself visited the one that has been voted the worst grain road by Grain Producers SA reports, and have been talking with people around that and the difficulties around maintaining those roads, but the impact that it does have on grain transport as well as other products. So it is a difficult one, but I think this is a very much an outstanding achievement for particularly the grain sector, but for crops and grains across the board. And this is something that, despite things like the higher input costs, some of the weather, particularly with having such a late harvest, and some disease, the fact that they have pulled off an absolutely record crop. So that is something they should be very proud of.
Well, thank you very much for joining us briefly, Claire. I know you're over in Canberra for some important ministerial meetings with your Labor colleagues. Thanks for joining us today on Flow.
My pleasure. Thank you.